told him, Mr. President, we have a formula that works. We can actually give you a formula. We have a curious scientist in these very universities. When they gave the president a formula, the president was like, no, I don't want this formula because me with I'm an agronomist, I know the formula. Dude, you deal with, una deal na mbegu, una deal na mahindi na mbosho. You are arguing with someone who's telling you, as an agricultural scientist, I went to school to study this. I went to school to give you formulas. I'm giving you a formula that works. You want to argue, and I'm just there that you are an agronomist, you are a PhD holder. Yes, atujakata. No one argues with William Ruto about planting maize, and I'm not in any way demeaning him. William Ruto can plant maize in this country like no one else. That one I give him. When it comes to agronomics, he's the goat. But when it comes to other things, you can't be the goat of everything. Give us room. Where we see you are wrong, we tell you are wrong. We are not just young people who are idle. When Oscar Sudi stands in a podium and says, these people in social media, they are stupid. You invite Oscar Sudi to the same space and ask him, Oscar Sudi, can we reason? Let's not shout at each other. Let's not insult each other. Mr. Oscar Sudi, mtu wa mawaya, let us reason, me and you, intellectually. Sudi will not show up. But the same Sudi will go somewhere and say, we're talking to his constituency. Kuna mtu anahara na mdomo. Hata yasi tulete. We are educated, but we can also insult him at the same time. It's only that when you go down to his level, we've upgraded him, and for me, I don't have that time to upgrade Oscar Sudi. But can we start fixing this country? We've borrowed so much. We see zero development in terms of infrastructure. We see zero development in terms of building new ports. We see zero development in terms of building airports. We are seeing zero development in terms of building hospitals. The last hospital William Ruto opened in Kirinyaga was built under Uhuru's time. So, William Ruto, in your 5 years, other than chaos and anarchy, Mr. Professor, what do you have to show? Because anyway, it's a Sunday. Let me not get upset.
Thank you so much, Anthony. Thank you so much, Anthony. Cousin, welcome to the space. Welcoming all cousins, wherever you're from, whichever corner of Kenya you're joining us from. Welcome to the space. We're hearing your thoughts, your voice. Be a good cousin, share the space. Welcome other cousins in here. And let me contextualize how I'm using cousin. Cousin is any Kenyan against this corrupt regime, this failed regime that has taken us backwards, that has retrogressed us back to the dark days. If you're against this regime, if you're for a one-term presidency, you are my cousin. You are my cousin. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. You are my friend. So pick up the mic. Let's hear your voice. It's been a minute. Thank you, Anthony, for those points that you've so eloquently displayed. Let me pass the microphone to Kip Langat. I'm seeing you on the space. Uko hapo, unanipata vizuri? Unanisikia? Kip Langat? People are still waking up. Kuzos are waking up. Kip Langat or not on the mic. Henry, are you there? Kabera. Henry, uko hapo? I can't hear Henry at all. Yes, but Anthony has shared very, very serious points. Oscar Sudi with his PR stunt. I think so many Kenyans, you need some kind of, intellect if you're going to lie to people. There has to be some edge of believability to your lies if you're going to lie and to us Kenyans. And also the raising of that money, it is just a sham. When you see the leaders the crop of leaders that we have in this political dispensation, it's really really sad. And I'm urging every youth, get your IDs. This next election cycle, I'm saying this on every space I'm on, the ballot has to be used as a mechanism of protest. We have to protest with our votes. and put in right leaders, youthful leaders, progressive leaders. We can't keep this. We have to change this old guard. This old guard has to change. When IBC is reconstituted, let's recall the MPs. Let's get this work done. Let's also arudi nyumbani manzi. We can't keep on having a country like this. Kiplagat, can you hear us? I know you dropped. Uko hapo unatupata? Kuzo Anto, siku mingi bana.
Unajua
Yeah.
you've said some, umesema kitu important sana. Hata wacha tuongee na Kiswahili sasa.
Endelea.
Kitambo tulikuwa we used to be, you know, I think English is more political. Tulikuwa tunaambiwa that to run a country is a very complex issue. To a point that I used to believe to run a country is a complex issue. Until I figured out that Obama became president akiwa just shy, akiwa tu amekuwa 40 years. Bro, Obama alikuwa rezoa the most powerful nation on earth, the biggest budget on the planet, akiwa age yangu. Umsa hajawahi run country before. Alikuwa tu amerun Senate, na hata si ati Senate wana job mingi. So, running a nation is not complex. By the way, far from it, the way sisi kuja kuambiwa. Kama Oscar Sudi can run a constituency, hata mimi naweza run nchi. Iwezi kuwa kitu ngumu hivyo. Because, let us look at where we are as young people. Because, tuna need to realize kitu moja, and I think that is why mass voter registration is going to be very key. 2027 will be the year that the young people in Kenya and in Africa, for that matter, showed that they can rule and they can take part in a very healthy discourse about their country. You know, bad leadership does not affect William Ruto. But the Ruto hata ajui kuna recession. Ruto hata ajui ati hakuna do ina circulate. The country we are fighting for and the leaders we want to see, the Kenya we are crying about every day on spaces, will benefit us. Sisi ndio tuko jobless. Sisi ndio watoi wetu wanaenda kuingia system haijui kama ni CBC, hata nisikie imechangewa sasa, sijui I think ni DED, something like that. Sisi ndio tunapewa chaos na mtu ambaye hata Kenya ikuwe chaotic aje, atapeleka tu watoto wake ile shule, atawapeleka abroad wasome system inafaa. So ikikam ni kupiga kura, and I beg every young person, Kenya might not be working for us right now, but in 2027 we shall vote for a Kenya that is ours. We are voting for our future. I think tumefika point where we've trusted the old people so much and they have messed up so much that even if we say, you know what, stupetum too young, you know, we've been messed up so many times by the old people. What if we give a chance to a young person who's not beholden to old ideologies to come in and say, this is the Kenya I want? One, if you are an MP, let's just agree, we don't need to be paying you this much. If you are a minister, you don't need to be paying this much. As a president, in most developed countries, and I use the US as an example, every incoming president is given a budget to renovate the White House. That budget is not even $1 million. It's way less. Any other development you want to do in White House that exceeds the budget that has been set for you purely comes out from your pocket. You paid from your pocket. So Trump came in, is building a new library from his pocket. He's putting up 2 new flag posts from his pocket. So when we sit here as a country, we need to ask ourselves some very fundamental questions. Do we really need to change the motorcade of the president with every president? Do we really need to buy new furniture for State House with every president? The desk that Donald Trump sits on was sat on by, I don't know what, this president called, he was an actor, Ronald Reagan sat on that desk. We need to, that's where Kenya wastes money. We are spending over 1 billion shillings on State House every financial year. Yet we should say, William Ruto, we will give you 1 billion shillings, but this is how much you get for your entire of your presidency. Do small modifications, another president will come and they will do the next modifications. That is a way of curtailing corruption. When we sit here and argue, sometimes I hear leaders justifying nonsense. You go buy cars from Toyota Kenya. You list them actually from Toyota Kenya. You don't need to be buying new cars. Like now, all kila minister akona Prado mpya. As a country, why do we allow our money to be misused this way? In the name of that, we have technocrats running our ministries. Why does a president need over 30 advisors? William Ruto came to power and said, nikiitisha hii kazi, nilikuwa najua Kenya inahitaji. Na akasema, hiyo mambo unaniambia nifanye, wewe itisha kura rais utafanya. So he knew the problem. So why does he need 30 advisors to tell him how to solve the problem? If that was the case, then Ruto should have told us, mimi nasimama rais, lakini the presidency will include 30 advisors. So that we're also able to pick which advisors we want for this country. That is how William Ruto is messing us up. As young people, and this has been my clarion call from the longest time, if we cannot form a political party, like EFF in South Africa, or what this military junta is doing in Burkina Faso, can we as young people form a movement? You don't need to register a movement. You just need to be a group of people who think in a like-minded way. Because once you form something, sometimes you fall under regulations. Can we form a movement and say, because today as we stand here, and me, I have all the love for Rigathi Gachagua. Rigathi Gachagua is the sledgehammer that this movement needed. He has a way with words that moves people. But as young people, I'll tell you, when Rigathi Gachagua is campaigning, do you see yourself in that campaign? You don't. Hakuna maliko hizo sunroof zote utaona mtu mdogo. Hakuna maliko hizo sunroof zote utasikia mtu anasema, by the way, tukifika Voi, kama hii kampeni na terminatea Mombasa, tukifika Mombasa pale tunaendanga kufanya ile sit down ya kusema how we want to do things. This is what young people are saying. So it is a group of old people, and I respect them. I respect that entire movement the way it is, because we needed it. But if we don't get our voices in there as young people, our story will be told by old people. And anytime the hunter tells the story of the lion will always end up as a trophy. It will always die. The head of that lion will always end up as a trophy. As young people, we need to ask ourselves, because the word Gen Z will be used a lot during this campaign season. Oh, Ruto aliwa Gen Z. Oh, Ruto amefanya nini Gen Z. Oh, Gen Z this, Gen Z this, Gen Z that. How I wish that it is us young people telling our story. I don't want Kalonzo Musyoka to tell my story for me. I want Kalonzo Musyoka to tell a story for his generation. I want Rigathi Gachagua, with all due respect, I want him to tell his story as Rigi G. But ikifika ni story ya Gen Z and what young people, me am a millennial. Ikifika story ya what we want, kindly give me the mic and let me say my story. I don't want a politician to say my story for me, because you are using my fight to gain popularity. Hakuna politician hata moja alizikwa after June 25th. Hakuna MCA alizikwa, hakuna senator alizikwa, hakuna MP alizikwa, hakuna governor alizikwa, hata watoto wao, hakuna hata mmoja. So they cannot relate to our story. As young people, let us give our narrative. Tukisema tunataka Medicare poa, we understand penye hiyo Medicare inatuuma. Tukisema tunataka jobs, sisi ndio tuna understand joblessness wetu. Na mimi naheshimu viongozi, lakini hakuna siku Kalonzo Musyoka anaweza understand joblessness ni nini. Boss hajawahi kuwa jobless kutoka kwa 28 years. Na watu wake hawajawahi beba bahasha ya brown. I can assure you hakuna mtoto wa Kalonzo ashaandika CV. Hakuna mtoto wa Rigiji ashaiandika CV na hawatawahi, na hiyo ni bahati yao. They did not choose where to be born. They were born there, and that is lucky for them. But in 2027, sisi vijana, as young people, if we allow the politicians to say our story for us, believe you me, the best we shall come out of with in 2027 will be a picture that in June 25th, young people from all walks of life gathered in Nairobi. It is unfortunate and sad that some of them had to lose their life. But all that will happen, we shall be a paragraph in the history of this country. And I do not want us to be a paragraph. I want us not to break the doors of parliament. I want us to walk into parliament because we were elected. I want us to take the oath of this republic and say, for the first time, I'm going to say, and I'm going to share the story of the Gen Z movement. And this was our story. That kid was shouting, Mr. Speaker, sir. This was our story. This is our moment. And I want us young people to write laws, because that is what MPs do. I want us to legislate the Kenya we want. And I want that Kenya we want. After we've made the law, I want us to live that Kenya in real life. Because the Kenya we want has to be passed in parliament. It will not be passed in the street. It has to be passed in parliament. We have to write that law that says, when you get to the age of 64, kindly, 64 is too much. When you get to the age of 60, another 10 years you'll be senile. Walk away. You've served the public service with distinction. If you've not managed to build a life for yourself in the private sector for you to retire, even if we give you another 60 years for you to be 120 years, you'll not have figured it out. So that Kenya now has a system that old people get out after they have served their country and young people come in. Young people, I'll urge all of us, if we cannot form a political party because of the complexities of forming a political party, the same way we spoke in one voice, these social spaces have no legislation. They are not governed by any law. But we showed the world that we can come on spaces, form an agenda, come up with a narrative, come up with how to get what we want, and execute with precision. Let us use what we are good at to get us what we want. And if social media is our greatest tool, let us use it with surgical precision to rewrite the history of this republic. Because I can tell you, young people, there's nothing. William Ruto fears two things: Rigiji and social media. Because this is the only place he does not know how to operate in. And I'll land and tell you this. When Ruto came into social media for the first time, he asked, are this the number of listeners? I think we were like almost 100,000 people listening in. Do you know what he said? Ni kama stadium gapi. Because to him, people are numbers. So if we have the ability to mobilize, to organize, and to execute on social media, our greatest tool must get us to the Kenya we want. Whether they want it or not, we shall be on that table in the way we know how to be. And that's the only way we shall get the Kenya we want. We will not be a story. We will not be a paragraph. We will be in leadership in flesh and bone. And we will lead this country. And we shall prove to people that we did not go to school for nothing. That country we dream of is achievable, it is doable, and it is possible. So young people, can we come together in the best way we know how to and liberate Kenya one space at a time? Thank you very much, Afro.
Hey, powerful morning submission. Anthony, welcome back to the space. If you're joining us, we are having a good morning cousin space. The space is on the Jumbotron. Please retweet it. Let's have as many cousins seeing the visibility of this space, seeing that cousins have come together. We're having a family meeting. We're speaking about the current political atmosphere, what's happening in the current political space. Airing, if you have any thoughts, hata kama unashika mic kusema Wantam, Tungane tu mkono. You're welcome to the space. You're welcome to the request the mic. I'll pass the microphone quickly to you. Thank you so much for your points. When we conversate, when we talk, we begin to align our thinking and we begin to align our course of action. Please let nobody tell you your purpose, your influence is too little to bring about change in this country. I've been thinking so much about what Anthony has just said. He said, if it's not too difficult to run a country. We have this grandiose thinking that the instruments of power and the instruments of the state to govern a country is very difficult. No, this is your country. By the way, we are not here talking about affairs of Zimbabwe or another country. You are Kenya. Kenya is you. Kenya is you and me. And if Kenya goes down, I'm going down. You are going down. It's you and I. So it is us to speak up. If the driver is driving dangerously, if the driver is not driving safely, it is you and me to speak up. So ini nchi yako banze, pick up the microphone. Cousins, let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation.
Wantam.
Asante sana. Gen Z wetu hapa T. Umesema hiyo ni point yako. Wantam.
Wantam.
Mzuri sana, mzuri. Wantam. I have Joseph on the microphone. I see my co-host here, Wanjiru. Karibu kwa space. Hebu tusalimie, tusikie sauti ya co-host. Ama pia unasema one time. Now drop.
Good morning, cousins.
Good morning.
Wacha nikunywe breakfast kidogo, sauti irudi. But mambo ni one time na mambo ni ya familia, so Ruto must go.
Cousins wapendane wasipendane?
Wapendane. Cousins wafukuze Ruto.
Exactly. Lazima Ruto must go home indeed. Anthony, I want to pick your brain. What is your thoughts on youth? Or you can think about it and come next after the speaker. What are your thoughts about youth running as independents in the next election cycle, or when we start these by-elections, which are already pending? Instead of joining one of these main political parties, we all run as independents. Those who are interested. Who is on the microphone? Let me see. Lil Levine. Lil. Unanisikia? Levine. Kuna sisi? By the way, please lift up your hand if you're ready to talk, so I can quit this guessing game of who is ready, who is at the microphone, who is having breakfast, who is in the shower, who is talking. Don't nipatiane mics haraka upesi. Tease your hand up.
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to
Yeah.
ask a question. Yeah.
Shoot.
Like I was wondering why people aren't mad about this Boniface Mwangi. They're sympathizing with him, but I feel like they need to be angrier, because why is Boniface Mwangi and Martha Karua and Nini being treated like that? The other Ugandan lady. It's very heartbreaking, and you find Ruto is the one going to apologize to them. I don't know. It's just heartbreaking seeing people are not as mad as they should be. The situation.
You're talking about when Boniface Mwangi was tortured and kidnapped in Tanzania, right?
Yeah. People aren't as mad as they should be, to be honest. And for a man to come out and say he was done for those things, it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage.
Yeah, it looks like a well orchestrated plan among the leaders in the East African community. If you look at it, we see the opposition leader in Tanzania, Tundu Lissu, is facing treason charges. Kisa BCG in Uganda is in prison He has not been released. I think it's now 6 months. Even the constitution of Uganda says he's supposed to be released if the state has not brought charges. He's being held without any charges levied against him. They're just holding him. You look at South Sudan, opposition leader also under house arrest. Kenya, the opposition has been swallowed up. Now there's this re-emergence. We know the Gen Zs who have been since last year, June, the official opposition since the events that happened in Parliament and the killings and the kidnappings and the abductions that have gone ahead. So it's just a regression from the democratic progress that we had made all these years, especially with us, the Constitution 2010.
Mhm.
So on the issue of the activists and the lawyers and Martha Karua being denied entry into Uganda to practice law when they are licensed, we have, I believe, East African lawyers who practice on that issue. I believe the APRO should be there. APRO, especially by the government of Kenya, especially a Kenyan citizen was harassed by another nation and was abducted. That APRO needs to be, although I've had, and I don't know why activists who are fighting for human rights get such a bad PR rep that they're doing this for money. Wacha niwaambie kwa space, you could not pay me to go get kidnapped and to be tortured. There is no price I can. I don't think there's a price that I can feel. Kila mtu amekuwa akijitolea for this movement, giving out their time, giving out their resources. There is no amount to say that hey, these activists wanalipwa ndo waende wafinywe huko, wafinywe. I don't think there is an amount you can put for someone for fighting for, and it is so unfair that the freedoms that we are so passionately fighting for, those who are criticizing and abusing these activists, they're going to enjoy those same freedoms that we're going to once we get our freedom.
That's true.
They will enjoy the same freedoms.
That is very true.
Yeah, so on the story of Boniface Mwangi, thank you for bringing it up, but it falls into the collective, push that we want to see Wantam. Like, we can't have what is happening in Tanzania now be normalized in Kenya. What's happening in Uganda be normalized in Kenya. See, this generation is different.
Sure.
Anthony, you have something to add on?
Afro, William Ruto is a classic failure of someone who does not understand what being a president is. When you take the oath of office, you take an oath to protect Kenyans, not those who are inside Kenya. You protect Kenyans wherever they shall be. What happened between Boniface Mwangi in Tanzania and Honorable Martha Karua in Tanzania was an assault not on those individuals. When Boniface Mwangi says he was sodomized, Kenya was sodomized. When Boniface Mwangi says he was beaten, Kenya was beaten. And William Ruto needs to understand, you don't become a Kenyan simply because I agree with you. I am a Kenyan because my birthright secures me that citizenship. And let me tell you guys one thing. Just to borrow your phrase, this is the phrase. These two phrases will kick Ruto out of power. And we have a president who, when a Kenyan leaves Kenya and goes to any other nation on earth, they know when you touch me, you've touched the soul of my country. And I'll land by saying, Kenyans need to awaken the patriotism we find in Nigerians and Americans. When an American goes abroad, and you actually put him in handcuffs, do you know the first thing he says from his mouth is what? I'm an American. He warns you that you are not dealing with me. You're dealing with America as a nation. That is what being a president means. It means if someone is a drug dealer, they are my drug dealer. Bring them back to me. I will deal with them. When Boniface Mwangi is an activist, I might not like him, but he's my activist. Bring him back to me. No, wewe hata labda kwenye umefuku. Discipline him for us. But we are Kenyans before we are activists. Musalia Mudavadi has been in foreign affairs for a very long time. In 2027, as you put that paper into the ballot box, as you mark your ballot paper, mark it with the pain of the 5 years that William Ruto inflicted pain, inflicted sodomy, inflicted torture, inflicted abductions, inflicted any unemployment, businesses closing down. Mark that paper with all that pain. Na tupeleke Ruto nyumbani. Ndio kiongozi mwingine yoyote ataingia katika nchi hii na kututawala sisi kama Wakenya, ajue ameshika mamlaka kwa niaba yetu, na asifikirie ya kwamba lazima aende miaka 10. Kiongozi mwingine yoyote atakele hiyo kiti, tumwambie, and by the way, tukisikia utupeleki venye tunataka, tunaweza sema hata utamaliza miaka 2. Because tulikupea kiti, hatukuandikiana ati lazima umalize miaka 5. Ndio maanake kwa katiba tulieka kipengele cha kusema tunaweza kungatua mamlakani wakati wowote tunaposikia ya kwamba hautupeleki venye tunataka. Na pia wabunge wajue ya kwamba pia wao wanahudumia wananchi na wako bunge kufanya matakwa yao. Tukikaa chini tuseme sisi kama watu wa Kenya tumesema ya kwamba huyu rais tuko na shida na yeye, mpelekeni nyumbani. Uchaguzi ni rahisi. The budget of an election is cheaper than us having to settle for corruption. It is cheaper to remove a cancer when it is in stage 1. Mimi sijui kwa nini tunakubalisha Ruto hata miaka 5. Ukiwa na cancer kwa mwili yako, the earlier your cancer is diagnosed and removed from your body, the more chances you have of survival. Ruto is similar to a cancerous cell. It is malignant. He's in stage 2. Ako mwaka wake wa 2 ama ni wa 3. It is cheaper for us to do a surgical with the highest number of members of parliament chairs a committee, and the opposition with the highest number of members of parliament also now deputizes the majority. So as young people, someone might tell you it is wise to run as an independent, but independents don't have a lot of power in parliament. because you don't have you have to lobby a lot as an independent. But when you belong to a political outfit, a political party, you lobby within the political party. So for you to get an agenda, or for you to get access to resources, or for you to get the ear of the minister or the president, it is easier to do it within a political party, because a party takes what is called a party position. Okay? Party members are whipped to take a certain position. So for young people who want to run for offices, be it members of parliament, MCs and all that, you can do it, yes, but you'll be more efficient inside a political party, because a political party has muscle. There's that power of unity. It is easier for you to lobby and get development within a political outfit. And that is why you find people who are independent. And let me give you examples. Karaori of Kasarani is one of them. Karaori has to align himself with the leading political party of the day for him to get development, because he went in as an independent. Kawira Mwangaza, the governor who was impeached in Meru, ran as an independent. Impeaching her was so easy because she did not belong to any political party. And I think she realized that mistake. Okay? The reason Rigathi Gachagua was impeached is because he became an independent, alikuwa vice president without a political party. And if you want to know the importance of a political party, just look at how Rigathi Gachagua was treated because he did not have one, or how Kawira Mwangaza was impeached. As young people, let us register in political parties, find a political party that identifies or is close to what you want. Register, follow that political party, and drive change through the political party.
Think of an instance. What about an instance where, sorry to interject, what of an instance where the majority is independent youth in parliament and they're formed like a coalition in parliament?
You see, first of all, for you to talk about a coalition, you have to register that coalition with the registrar of parties. Okay?
A coalition so after. You can't form a coalition after.
Even if you say you want to craft a coalition after.
Yeah.
Even if the opposition will be the minority and it will have fewer members in the parliament, you have to read the standing orders. So unless we amend the standing orders to say that the coalition with the most members will form the committees. As of now, the standing orders read very well that the political party, it is clear, it has to be a political party. Standing orders in parliament, by the way, let me surprise you, they do not recognize independents. They only recognize political parties. So someone will stand here and tell you that going in as an independent is the way to go. It is not the way to go. Read the standing orders of parliament so that you understand how parliament is run. Parliament is run through committees. And that is why you find the budget committee is the most powerful committee, followed by I think it's the roads and something committee that now makes roads and all that. So whoever heads the budget committee is a very powerful member of parliament. It used to be Dente Nyoro. Now it is, I think, Atandi. That person controls the budgets of every constituency. He allocates money to every constituency. This money is even including roads, water, development. So as a member of parliament gets 100 million for the CDF, the budget, the committee that does the budgeting also gives the other allocations in terms of infrastructure, in terms of health, in terms of everything else. So it is good on paper to say that you can come in as an independent, then form a coalition. What will be the name of your coalition? It is going to be very easy to pick you out. Okay? Because the first business of parliament, immediately it sits, is to appoint committees. Those committees will end up with the people with political parties. Because parliament will say, as of now, the political party that holds the majority is DCP or DAPK. That political party will be given the right to form committees. Then your members will come in independents, okay? And they'll be fit, wataingia kwa hizo committees, but they will not have such a big voice. That's where political parties are important in a political journey. Political parties is the voice of the people put together under a name. That name can be UDA, that name can be ODM, that name can be DCP. So young people, don't let anyone tell you that being an independent is easy. You can be a very popular independent, but maneuvering parliament as an independent becomes extremely difficult because of the standing orders. That book where you hear people saying the standing orders, parliament is run through that book. So let's not be fooled to be told that independents have power. They don't. You are as powerful as your political party.
But now, given the current system, you enter using these political parties. Unaingia huko parliament, you find there is a chief whip. There is a stance your political party is taking. You have to vote according to your party. You can't think independently. You can't represent your constituency. You can't bring about the change that your people put you in bunge to vote, because you have to toe the party line. So whether you're independent or the political party, where does the real power start?
Afro, let me now explain to you how a political party works. A political party can be founded by Rigathi Gachagua, or can be founded by Eugene Wamalwa, or it can be founded by Raila Odinga. He's the founder. He does not have much control over the membership, because for it to be popular, it must have popular candidates on the ground. And this is where the young people come in. We are 15 million plus. You might not have the tools needed to form a political party or to register a political party, but you have the numbers to control a political party. And I'll use a classic example of what William Ruto did to Jubilee. Jubilee Party belongs to Uhuru Kenyatta. But William Ruto owned more members in Jubilee than Uhuru Kenyatta had. And that's the reason Uhuru could not impeach William Ruto. Because William Ruto cleverly, even as they were working with Uhuru, he financed most of the politicians in Jubilee. He gave them money. So he gave Aaron Cheriot money, he gave Oscar Sudi money, he gave Ndedinyoro money. So as these people were running for those seats, they ran on each of them in their constituency. So all of them were under Jubilee, but they owned their allegiance to William Ruto. So as young people, you control the position a political party takes. If today you sit with Rigathi Gachagua in his caucus, so Rigathi Gachagua will call all of you. If young people have populated Rigathi Gachagua's party, you are bringing your thoughts and ideas into his party. Rigathi Gachagua does not impose. People actually vote, because political parties have what is called a charter that governs how a political party operates. So Rigathi Gachagua will call all of you and say, I am thinking we do this. Young people, if you are now members of that political party and you hold position as MPs, Secretary General, MCAs, you will now stand and say, Chairman or His Excellency, it is our thinking that we do it this way. So now you start populating your ideas into the political party. A political party is only an umbrella name. What gives life to a political party is its members. The political party drives the agenda of the members, because everything a political party does is put to a vote. The only place this does not work, like I'll give you an example, Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga did a handshake with William Ruto. But before he did a handshake with William Ruto, he met his people and asked the people, what do you want? The people told him, we want chairman, budget committee. That is one thing they went for. They could not get the minister of finance. They said, we want minister of finance. So Raila Odinga went to Ruto and said, for my people to join you, you must give me the ministry of finance. You must give me the chairman of the budget committee. What did Raila Odinga effectively do? He controls the finances of this nation. That is the power of coming together. Raila Odinga owns the party, but he has to listen to his members. And that is why up to date you find Raila Odinga saying, I'm not in government, I'm just helping government. So people cannot really tell where Raila Odinga is. Because akirudi kwa ground watu wanamwambia hatutaki. And he goes and tells Ruto, my people are not satisfied. So Ruto has to keep on going to Nyanza to make the people of Raila Odinga be at peace, because he needs them. So as young people, What are our advantages? It is our numbers. Can we force any leader, or can we create a situation where any leader who wants our vote does the same thing William Ruto is doing with Raila Odinga and the people of Nyanza? Eating omena. What is our omena? Our omena is saying, you want our vote? One, we want to see representation in your party. Before anything else, we want to see representation in your party. Who's your secretary general? Because that does not need an election. That needs appointment. Who's your treasurer? Who's your deputy? We see ourselves there. Now we want to see ourselves propagating our story and our needs during your Meet the People tour. You know, there's no way an old person can give the story of Wanjiru. They cannot relate. There's a generational gap. So we use our numbers to demand for the Kenya we want. That is how we are going to get the Kenya we want. Sisi wote kama makazi sivyo tumewekwa na Rigiji. Ndio tupate ile Kenya tunataka. Rigiji might not understand the needs of Wanjiru. But if we collect our voices together and take Wanjiru closer to Rigiji's ear, Wanjiru will be able to say, excuse me, sir, the young people that I represent, this is what they are saying. Because I happen to come from their age bracket. I know their problems and I know what they are screaming for. Because we might be screaming, but Rigiji is hearing a very different story. Sijui kama mshai argue na mzazi wenyu. You argue with your parent and you ask yourself, nini how understand? Because your parent cannot relate to you. It's called a generational gap. So as young people, to bridge the generational gap, we must get ourselves participating in political parties. So that once those political parties take power, we are well represented inside there and we can now propagate our agenda and our ideology. But if we don't take part in that discourse, then our story will be interpreted by the old in the way they understand. So that's what I would urge people. Tushikane, make sure one of us ends up, or as many of us end up in those political parties. Then we fight from within those political parties. The more we are in those political parties, the more chances we have of becoming members of parliament, MCAs and everything. They need our vote. But we also need the structure that they provide, the resources that they have. You know, one of the disadvantages of being young is that you don't have money. And one of the advantages of being old is that you've been around so long that you have money. So how do we work together? I can't afford a V8, but you can afford a V8. So you need my vote and I need your V8. You need my vote, I need your public address. Let's learn as young people to negotiate for what we want. Life is a negotiation. Anything you do in life is a negotiation. It's the art of how we negotiate that will make us win. But if we don't negotiate, the old people will continue giving us our story. The old people will continue saying, we thought this is what you wanted. And then we tell them no. But they are saying, but we thought this is what you wanted. So let's clear that gray area. Let's be in political parties. Let us run for seats under political parties. Let's get into those leadership positions. Then bring the change we want from inside. And Babu Owino is a classic example. Jalango is a classic example. Jalango could not win the Langata seat under UDA. He could only win it under ODM. Once he got in, what did Jalango do? He crossed over to government. Because now he understood, for me to get development, I need to be in one room with the government. Babu Owino could not win the Embakasi seat without Raila Odinga. So he might not agree with Raila Odinga ideologically, but he knew Raila Odinga is the bridge I need for me to bring the change I want. So Raila Odinga used Babu Owino to get votes. Babu Owino used Raila Odinga to get into parliament. They used each other. It's called a symbiotic relationship. Once Babu Owino is in office, now he can propagate his agenda to the people of Embakasi. And also he can work on his dreams of being a president. We need to start reasoning logically rather than emotionally. Let us use what we have to get what we want.
Thank you so much, Anthony. Thank you so much for explanations about the workings of of parliament and any youth. We are advocating. By the way, if you're a youth, we are here calling for change. We're calling for change. If you are going to stand in 2027, please come on these spaces. Let us know. Let us support you. We want to support young minds. We want to support progressive minds. Change will begin with you. We can't keep voting these old guys in. We can't keep, voting for the same old structures. No, we want change, and you are the change. So come 2027, tunasimama na nyinyi, tunasimama pamoja. We're going to unite and support each other. And whether you're choosing an independent route or you're choosing to be absorbed into these political parties, please remember, kumbuka, to be the change. Don't go there and start being corrupt and stealing and doing all the things that sahi tunakashifu hapa. Anyway, cousins, karibu kwenye space, karibu kwenye hii space. Space of cousins. We are fighting tribalism. We are fighting anyone trying to divide us and separate us, from the common goal that we have. If you have any point that you want to share on this space, karibu kwenye space, put your mic. The space is on the Jumbotron. Please retweet it. Let's get many cousins in here as we discuss this beautiful morning. Douglas, are you here? Can you hear me? Douglas, unanisikia? Are you there? Hey, Douglas is not there. Saina, uko hapo? Guys, please lift up your hand so I can know you're ready to speak, because mnashika mic alafu mnanyamaza. Saina, uko hapo? Unanisikia? Wanjiru, am I audible? Ama inaweza kuwa shida mi. I'm the problem. It could be I'm the problem.
No, we can hear you, cousin.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Douglas. Hey, my speakers here. Let me add some more speakers. Yes, guys, if you're joining us again, cousins, we are here. There's something, by the way, we'll share Wanjiru, which I wanted to even to ask you about, as people are picking up the microphone, about the position of women rep, because sometimes this wage bill is too much. It's sinking the country. The position of women rep. I think you tweeted something saying it needs to be scrapped. And you, as a woman, I was very shocked because this thing was put in the Constitution 2010. That we need to have a representative government that represents how Kenya looks like, and women are largely represented in elective positions. You're saying that we need to scrape it. Can you please expound a little bit on that?
Oh, yes. I mean, one of the reasons it's because it's a lot of burden to the taxpayer. I just realized we have these women lep wakona bodyguard, wakona polisi, wakona house, wakona nini. I mean, for their position alone, it's worth more than 10 billion I think even more than 20 billion every year. And that money can be used for free medical care. If we have leader mama, it can care for every other women here, If we have if we can, because seriously speaking, why do we need a nominated MCAs, Why do we need a women led position? Why do we need it? I think, of course, because hakuna kitu wanafanya. We have women led. They don't even go to the parliament or speak about women issues if they're supposed to speak about women and children issues. They're not taking care of anything. They're not bringing any bill. Since the last 13 years they have been having women positions, they have not brought any substantial bill that we can say, yes, hii inaona, hii ni nzuri kwa wanawake. They watched as leader mama Ruto killed it. They just stayed there watching and worrying, oh, Ruto, stop. Oh, you cannot. And I find it very offensive, especially when they come to social media. I know there is there are a lot of women coming to social media, like I think Betty, complaining with us here on social media that Ruto is not doing a good job. And I'm like, why are you even complaining with us here on social media? You're a woman representing people of Kirinyaga. Go speak about these issues to the lawmakers where the laws are made. It's a position that is taking a lot of money. It's burdening to the taxpayer for once. And then a second time, the money that is used to pay them, or the money that is used to fund these access free medical care like other countries without the burden of positions. So I think according to my, it's burdening the mwananchi wa kawaida, it's burdening you, it's burdening me. And hakuna, by the end of the day, hakuna kitu yenye utasema, oh, thanks to the women rep hii imefanyika, thanks to unajua the women rep wako na kitu inaitwa NGFF, kitu kaa hiyo, like their own little CDF money ya kusaidia. Honestly speaking, why don't we scrap this thing? Our constitution is put in such a good way, but inawapatia power that they don't really need it. So I don't know if I've explained myself, but inaonekana kama mimi ni mwanamke napiga wanawake wenzangu, but it should be by merit. It should be by merit. It should not be given because you're a woman. I mean, umeona kama Susan Kihika akituambia she cannot give birth if at all she was even pregnant. She can't give birth in Nakuru. She had to go to the USA asionekane uchi yake na the doctors in Nakuru. And you wonder the kind of reasoning some people have. Even if you're a woman, you have to be a woman with merit. You have to be a woman who is a leader, not a woman now because you're a woman you can't be touched. Now unajua sasa wengine wanasema, oh, it's because I'm a woman that's why wananiingililia. No, you have to. I keep on saying Ruto is a man and he's not doing a good job. Kidiki is a man with soprano and he's also not doing a good job. So if somebody is a man or male, they should be elected by merit and they should be leading by merit. Sijui nimeongea sana. Back to you. I think I have I answered.
Yeah. You've answered very well. You've answered very well. I understand. I can see your point that right now we have data showing the works that they have done. Has it been positive? Us having this position right now, because like you said, they come with their bodyguards. So it's very expensive to maintain a whole office. And there's really nothing to show. Your story ya Kihika nilikuwa ninacheka, niliona, I think, was it 4 days ago? Whether I sometimes you don't even have to answer. If I was part of a PR, I'll say usijibu story. But going to give birth abroad, that was the most interesting thing because she didn't want her juniors to see her naked. Sometimes the jokes write themselves. Someone said to be born in Kenya, that is a self-choice. Hapo umejichagulia because something is always happening. But see that one, we have to change the whole constitution if we have to scrape a whole office.
But we have I guess, is it Wanga or someone saying there would be a referendum before 2027 because the MPs are actually afraid that kutakuwa na nini, hatutaki hii NGCDF. I also have spoken about NGCDF a lot on my timeline, and I am also of the idea that MPs don't need this money. So apparently I also had Wanga saying, is it Wanga or either huko kutoka, yeah, I think it was her. She was saying before 2027 there's going to be a referendum, and I think one of those issues on the referendum, it's the issue about NGCDF. I feel so bad when I see our mamas, lining up every early in the morning. Kwanza, I don't know if someone has been into Kikuyu kwa Kimani Shungwa. They line up in the morning. wanagojea Ishungu afike saa 6 ama ni saa 8 awapatie bursaries, na walifika huko 6 a.m. you know. And these are the kind of things that we actually don't need. We are begging, we elect them, and then you start begging them again to give us that small money for bursaries. I am also for that idea. I think there's going to be a referendum, and someone can actually push it, because saizi, if we continue making these people have a lot of power, let the Ministry of Education have enough money to actually cater for every other thing that we need. Let the Ministry of Health have every other money to make a health available for everyone. Why do we need to go and beg an MP to give bursary to pay the school when the Ministry of Education can actually have that money already already imewekwa ndani, and we don't need to beg anymore? So I think a referendum is brewing, or a referendum is smelling somewhere very far. And I think that is one of those ways. I hope people can actually see my idea. Isikuwe ni mimi ninaona tu peke yangu, but I hope people can actually see it. Back to you, Afro.
Thank you. I see we have other cousins who are here. Let's see if they understand you. Josie on the microphone. Karibu cousin, how you doing?
Bari yako cousin, mkoaje?
Mko salama, labda wewe.
Niko. I just have one point. And Wanjiro, as much as I understand what you say when it comes to women and merit and having the woman rep seat scrapped, the purpose for it was to balance gender parity and to elevate the woman's voice in governance. As we all know, not even most, since time immemorial, the world has been patriarchal. So it felt like giving women a voice was a wise idea. And it could be a wise idea. I am fortunate to come from a county where both women reps have actually 3. All the 3 women reps that have been elected have done what is expected of them. The NGAF fund, NGCDF is not theirs, it's the MPs, which was scrapped, but they are trying to get it back because MPs are greedy, obviously. And for women generally to not speak out about issues that are affecting women, for example, femicide. Now that is a reason to, gauge and look and see, oh, this person is not doing their work. So evict her and put someone else who can do the job. But generally, I think the woman rep seat is important, because in as much as gender parity is in question, going to the villages, I have been on the ground, and as much as we want to say that we are empowered, there is still a majority of women who are dealing with things that they can't, speak about because husbands. And this is where now that, chair comes into play. Like these things, if they are called for meetings and they discuss these things among themselves, and they are given things like table banking, or they are given pesa kidogo ya kufanya basic things, then it improves the family. And it has been told that a woman is the heart of the house, family, something on those lines. So that is the idea behind it. But the women who have been given these seats, the ones who are disappointing us, they are very quiet, they are greedy, and they are making that seat look like it is not worth being there. Yes, I can understand the idea being toyed of, oh, let's have a man rep as well. But if we have a man rep, and let us not kid ourselves, in the political space, it's majorly men. And that is what part of the woman rep seat was coming to correct. So in your counties, if you get someone who has akona akili